Welcome to the Buddy and Friends podcast, a podcast about performers. Let's get on with the show.
Hello, everyone. I am Buddy Katz. Welcome to Buddy and Friends, a show about performers. And if you guys are not know who I am, I'm Michael Jackson impersonator, Freddie Mercury impersonator. And today we have a very special guest. A lot of people from Australia might know him from Jersey Boys, from Boys in the Band. He's on a tour right now. And for kids my age, might know him from the Wiggles and the Dorothy Dinosaur shows. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest, Simon. How you doing, Simon?
I'm good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on your show.
No problem. I'm doing great. Just to say, like I said to you before we started recording, you are a lot of people's childhoods. For people who grew up with the Wiggles, people who saw you probably in the United States, Australia, they're like, they're not the Wiggles, that's someone else. But you became people's childhoods. And another thing I want to say before we start asking questions, two things. You know they are doing a new Dorothy Dinosaur show, right?
I did see that. Yes, there was a new one coming out, which is exciting.
And also the skivvies you guys were wearing, you and Brett were wearing during that show, they later used that
Uh-huh.
design.
Oh, did they? The green ones with the yellow sleeve.
Yes, it became was
Yes.
their like signature colors, like oh, it's just amazing.
Very nice. Yeah, that's cool. They're still doing it. It's good. It was an exciting show, and it was yeah, a great part of my career too.
Well, got some good questions for you, Simon. Hopefully you can answer them. Um, what was
No
your
problem. Shoot, go for it, my friend.
what was your early introduction into performing, and how has it inspired you throughout your life?
My earliest introduction into performing was, oh look, man, probably as young as, you know, 4, 5, 6, and 7, when I just kind of do dress ups at home and play with my parents and role playing characters and things like jumping in and out of the laundry basket and that sort of stuff. But then probably once I got to primary school, or like elementary for you guys, in about the third grade, I think I got into music. They did that thing where they kind of give everyone a musical instrument and they say, have a go of each one. And whichever one you seem to have a natural aptitude for, they let you start playing that. So I was given the saxophone. So I started that in about the third grade. And then the next year in the fourth grade, I joined the school choir. And then from there, it all kind of grew. So, things like skits and plays at elementary school and, book parades. So they were probably the first ones that spring to mind. And then I think that was a good foundation in music, acting, drama, costuming, and that probably influenced everything that followed.
And you play saxophone. How long you play saxophone for?
Well, like I said, I picked it up in the third grade. So I played for, all the way through my elementary school and high school. I've still got one. I don't play very often, but I've still got the kind of skills to do it. So there's been, I've just got a car here. There's been a few situations where I pulled it out for a gig. So I can still play. So it's been, a good number of years.
Good. So sometime around the 2000s, I don't know when you started. I know it was 2003 when they started it, and you were part of the
Yep,
show from 2006. You were part of the Dorothy Dinosaur show. Were you a part of the Dorothy
correct.
Dinosaur dance party show too?
Yes. So
Okay.
basically, when I finished high school, I went to acting college, and a part-time job I had while I was at acting college was there was a company based out of Melbourne, which is another city in Australia, called the Entertainment Store, and they were doing very small versions of the Wiggle shows in kind of shopping centers, community locations, that sort of stuff. So I got involved with that, and I did that for a number of years, just very part time. So this would have been about 2000, yeah, 2003ish, 2004. And then after doing it for a number of years, the head office of the Wiggles decided to kind of take over the small shows once more. And they came and saw me, and I got some wonderful positive feedback. And then I was approached by the Wiggles, and they said, we've got the main Wiggles show that does the States, and that was with the original 4 Wiggles and characters. But they said, we'd love to send the Dorothy's Dance Party show to the States as well. And Brett Clark, who you're familiar with,
Yes,
was
Sam.
already in it. And they were looking for the other person to host with Brett. And so they offered me, and I was like, fantastic. So I think I went over in 2000, I'm going to say like 6, 7, 8, roughly, or maybe 2007 and 8, or no, it might have been 2004 and 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was about that.
Yeah. So around that time, I know around 2007, that's when they started doing the different Dorothy Dinosaur shows with the fairies and everyone else.
Oh, okay. So that one I didn't do.
Yeah.
So perhaps I finished at about 2006, and then the other one kicked in shortly after that.
But doing those shows, what was the audition process like?
I guess for me, because I'd already done it, there was a pool of people who were doing the show who were capable of doing it. And then, look, I think what was her name? Leanne. I think it was Leanne was the choreographer at the
Leanne
time.
Ashley. Yeah, Leanne Ashley.
Leanne, yes. So I think she was working closely with Brett, and perhaps, look, I think they kind of thought, yes, Simon's right for it. It wasn't like a grueling audition process because I'd already been doing it. They almost kind of just had been setting me up and grooming me for it. So I think I went into the Wiggles head office, and they just ran me through my paces, and they were like, yep, look, you've got this. Would you be interested? I don't think I was actually competing with anyone at the time. I was there with the other people who they were considering for the suit characters and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'd kind of already done the audition basically, and because I was doing the show, it was just almost like a logical progression to be offered it. So I was very fortunate in that respect.
Do you even got to meet the Wiggles? I got to meet them in person?
Yeah, I did. It was I can't remember which city, but it was somewhere over there in the States. And basically, if you recall when you were that age and seeing the shows, they had both shows going in the States, and kind of if one was on the East Coast, one was on the West Coast, and vice versa. And if one was in the North, one was in the South, and vice versa. So they weren't hitting the exact same places. However, there was one situation where we were pretty close, or we were going past them on our road trip. And so Brett organized for us to drop in and watch their show in whatever city it was. Maybe it was like St. Louis or something. But yeah, so our bus pulled up to their show. And so yeah, I met all the guys. So that would have been Greg at the time, Anthony, Murray, and Jeff, and a lot of the OGs of the characters and the support characters as well. So yeah, so I did meet them then. We might have crossed paths once or twice since, but yeah, so I definitely got to meet them, which was cool.
That's great. And Anthony, he's still going. I don't know. He'd probably be going until he's 90, but
I'm pretty sure. I think Anthony loves what he does. He loves the brand. Like he's got an infectious energy and he loves what he does. So look, I kind of feel the same in that respect. I love performing. Like, you know, I'm still working and touring, and you know, I still thoroughly enjoy it. So I can see in him, if you do enjoy what you're doing, and you know, in his case, he's got a very successful business and a successful brand. If he doesn't want to stop doing it, I'm like, man, you don't need to stop doing it. Go and do your thing, enjoy it. You know, as long as he's delivering and he makes the brand better and he brings enjoyment to the audience, I think, you know, it's fantastic for him. And it's great that he's paved that way with a kind of 30-year career or longer even. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to be 35 next year. Even before that,
there you go. Yeah,
the cockroaches. So he's been going for a very long time.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they commenced Wiggles in about the 90s. That's when the cockroaches were around as well, and then it's all kind of grown from there. So yeah, so I think hats off to him. And if I can go till I'm 90 as well, I'll be very happy. And if I can make as much money as Anthony, that'd be really good too.
Oh,
so.
definitely. That would definitely be great.
That would help, yeah.
Well, as the host for the show, what was your experience like? And do you have any favorite memories on tour?
Oh, look, man, I must say the whole experience was wonderful. I think I was in my 20s at the time. And so it was my first experience kind of going vastly abroad from Australia. It was my first experience on international airplanes. It was my first experience in a professional paid job. It was my first experience on a tour bus and traveling to all these amazing cities and places in the States. So I must say, I can't think of anything that was negative about it. I love the whole thing. I love the travel. I enjoyed the hotels. I enjoyed touring. We had a wonderful cast, wonderful support crew. Of course, I got a little bit homesick at times and missed a few things, but overall, I thought it was great. It was a really good opportunity for me to kind of spread my wings and be on my own and explore and be a bit independent. And it was wonderful to make some money and to be performing and doing something professionally. So, man, the whole thing was a highlight. And, a few little things too, like you're based in New Jersey, you said. So I think one of our first stops was in Newark, which is in the area as well. And then a few times throughout the tour, we were nearby in Jackson or New Jersey or whatever. So I got to take a bus or a train into New York City and go to, Manhattan and go to Times Square and see a Broadway show and that sort of stuff. So that was, of course, a highlight for anyone who enjoys, entertainment and theater. And all the Six Flags, got to go to a few of the Six Flags in the state. They were great fun. Yeah. So I think, look, the whole thing was super exciting.
And we will be touching up in your theater in just like 1 minute. But from doing that shows, Dorothy Dinosaur shows, Dorothy Dance Party, do you have any favorite song you love to perform during those shows?
There was always a fun one that kids would love was the Wags song. Here comes Wags, my friend Wags. You so much that it's out there. Oh me, oh my, box all day and night. That was always a fun one. And then, actually, when we were there at Christmas time, I did enjoy the Christmas ones too. There was the Here Come the Reindeer, Santa's friendly reindeer. That one. Exactly. Go Santa, go. You've got such a long way to go. So that was a fun one as well.
That's great. It is surprisingly for the people who be listening, like, oh my God, he's doing the song. And for a lot of people who don't know any information on that show, because there's not much information on that show, because it was such a long time ago. For you to confirm those songs, that's great for the Wiggles fans. But after the Dorothy show, after Dorothy, you were in shows like Boys in the Band and Jersey Boys. What were those experiences like?
Yep.
And also, who do you play in Jersey Boys?
Okay, so basically, when I got back from the States, I finished up with the Wiggles. I did a short stint with a kids group called High Five, which is a bit more of a mature audience than Wiggles. So I worked with them for about a year. Yeah. So they're pretty cool. So I did them, and they're like Wiggles tended to be the age of kind of 0 to about 5 or 6, and then High Five was the audience kind of 5 or 6 through to 7, 8, 9-ish, whatever. So I worked with them for about a year, and then I got cast in Jersey Boys. So I'd been cast in High School Musical, and I couldn't do Jersey Boys. And then, as it happens, High School Musical didn't get off its feet very well. So that was cancelled. And then the roles that were left in Jersey Boys that I went for was to understudy Frankie Valli and Bob Gaudio. So I went in as a swing, like an understudy swing, and also covered 2 of the lead roles. So I did that for about 2 years in Melbourne and Sydney, which was, again, another big career highlight for me. I kind of, learnt a lot and refined a lot more of my craft in that, worked with some amazing directors and producers and really great cast members. And I think my vocal legs in that show, because the Frankie Valli Jersey Boys material really suited my voice and my acting style. So that was great. And then the other one you mentioned, Boys in the Band, came after Jersey Boys. So I'd done that for 2 years. And then when I left that production, Boys in the Band, which was more of a kind of a corporate show, it would do, galas, fundraisers, big events, corporates, that sort of stuff. I got cast in that, and I did that on and off for years and years, like 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Yeah, so Jersey Boys was amazing, probably one of the best shows in the world at that time. Ensemble roles was a real gift, and so that was a very enjoyable experience. And then Boys in the Band was another place where I really kind of learnt my craft in terms of not so much music theatre, but live kind of band work and corporates and working an audience and thinking on your toes a bit, working differently. So that was great. Yeah,
that's good. For Jersey Boys, do you have any favorite songs to perform? And also, did you met Frankie Valli?
Favorite ones from Jersey. I've always been a fan of My Eyes Adored You.
Mm.
You know, the My Eyes Adored You, don't ever let a hand on you, My Eyes Adored You. That was always a big favorite of mine. I mean, obviously, there's, the big ones like Sherry and Big Girls Don't Cry and Walk Like a Man, and they're all fantastic. Walk Like a Man's probably my favorite out of those. But yeah, I really enjoyed the rest of the back catalogue of Frankie stuff. Things like Beggin' was great, Marianne. Yeah, but I always had a soft spot for My Eyes Adored You. I thought the lyric and the sentiment in that was really quite special. So that's always been one that I've held quite close to my heart. And I recorded that on an album that I'd done with another show later, and I was always really proud of that recording. So yeah, I quite like that song.
That's good. Not only you're a performer, but you also have your own podcast. You're a podcast host for On the Air Snack Bar. Can you tell me a little bit more about the podcast and how it began?
Yeah, sure. It's kind of a little bit similar to what you do. It's a chatting with performers type. That's why it's called On Air Snack Bar or On Air Entertainment. So hold on, I'm just going to reverse park the car while I'm talking to you. Yeah, that came about. I reached out to a gentleman on Instagram who'd been publishing stuff about this idea he had, and we just kind of collaborated. And yeah, that's how it came about. He sourced a production company, and the idea was I would head up the film and TV department, and I was chatting to, actors and those sort of people, and producers, directors, all in the TV, film, media, entertainment area. So yeah, I really enjoyed presenting and hosting, and so that was a nice little extension. So we've shot about maybe 7 episodes of that, and then it's briefly on hold at the moment while we curate the next section. But yeah, we're looking to how it's going to pivot after that. If it stays with the current production company, the current creator, he was sorting out some other things, or if yeah, I can take it off on my own and spread it with the production company called Splice Productions. So there's a few options there, which is exciting.
Definitely, I would love to be a guest on that show one of these days. Definitely, we gotta make it happen.
I think you'd enjoy it. It's very cool. Yeah.
You're currently on tour. You're for the Robertson Brothers 1960s TV variety show. Can you tell me a little bit more about the experience and about the show, and when do you join?
Yeah, sure, man. You look, hats off too. You've done all your research. You know all the bits and bobs that's going on.
Oh, I had to.
I'm very impressed. So the story goes, so with Wiggles came back, High Five, High School Musical, Jersey Boys, into Boys in the Band, in amongst other things as well. Whilst I was doing Boys in the Band, we had one gig at a venue in Sydney, and I was there with the original team of Boys in the Band, and there were some guys also performing that night who were also doing the PA system and the sound production, sound engineer for the night. So, and as it turns out, it was the Robertson Brothers. So we did sound check, and I had a chat to this guy, Ben, of the Robertson Brothers, gave him the tracks and ran the sound check. And in retrospect, he said to me, he's like, oh, this guy Simon's a good singer. He does well. He's got a good presence. So I did something that was, noticeable, which is nice. Anyway, we did the gig. I went home that night, and years and years later, I had a call from Ben, and Ben and the Robertson Brothers have always been very tight with a radio station called 2GB and a gentleman called Ray Hadley, who's one of the biggest broadcasters in Australia, and he just retired last year, I think. So his kind of second in charge and sports broadcaster was a guy called Mark Levy, who was a good friend of mine. And as it turns out, the Robertson Brothers were in the studio with Ray Hadley, and they were talking about their touring show and this, that, and the other. And they said, oh, we're considering we want to add like a Frankie Valli section to the show next year. And Mark chimed in and said, oh, I've got a friend, Simon, who's just done Jersey Boys and Boys in the Band. He does great Frankie Valli. Why don't you give him a call? And so Mark gave Ben my number, and then Ben worked out pretty quick. He's like, oh, I've met that guy at that gig. So he called me out of the blue and he said, hey, Simon, it's Ben. Don't know if you remember me. We met at this gig. I'm like, oh, of course I remember you. We started chatting this would have been in about 2017. And he said, look, we do this show. Why don't you come check it out? And next year, we'd love to add a Frankie Valli section because the other artist was leaving. And we'd love you to do that. So I went and saw the show, and it was fantastic. And then had a chat with them. And as at 2018, I joined with them. And originally, it was kind of like they were doing the Everly Brothers, and I was doing Frankie Valli. And then from there, what grew was this television show, variety show kind of concept that Ben had kind of bubbling in his brain. And yeah, he pitched it to me, and I loved the idea because it tied in with me, with hosting stuff and TV and film. And so the 1960s variety TV show was born, and we did it in 2018. And it's been doing it ever since. So basically every year it becomes the next volume, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. So we did volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. We're up to volume 5 now. So the concept kind of stays the same. There's the cameras, the TV screens. It's like a sound stage, like you're on a set. And the whole premise is that you as the audience are a studio audience, and you're watching this show being broadcast live. And we host it like TV hosts. And it goes to commercial break. There's the applause signs. There's all that sort of stuff. So, and then each year we basically change the lineup of the artists at this stage still from the 1960s that we pay homage to. So I've done the Frankie Vallis, I've done Neil Sedaka, Cliff Richard, Del Shannon, Chuck Berry, the Deltones, the Tokens. We kind of just change it each year. And the boys have done the Everly Brothers. We've done Together, the Beach Boys, the Bee Gees, the Beatles, Simon and Garfunkel. So we kind of change the lineup each year. So the audience comes back, they know roughly what to expect, but it's new and exciting each year, and it's kind of updated. So that's been 2018 up until we've just started again for this year. So a number of years.
That's a long time. Like I said, I've been doing it. I've been impersonating Michael Jackson for about 15 years. It doesn't feel like it, for you doing your
show.
That's right.
I
don't
saw
feel like it.
Yeah, and I saw some of your videos too, man. You're very good. I've seen the stuff like, jamming with the duets and everything, and it's very cool. Oh, the MJ is very cool. There's have you seen it's here in Australia at the moment. I'm sure it's done the States, the MJ musical.
Yes, I saw it twice. I saw it on tour, and I saw it the day after it opened on Broadway.
Very cool, man. I thought that would have been up your alley. So yeah.
It's a great show. I know. Have you seen it yet? Have you got to see it?
I haven't. The guys I'm touring with, we've got a break early June for about 2 weeks. I think they're going to see it in that period. But the reason we have a break is because I'm going on a surfing trip over to somewhere tropical in Indonesia. So that's why we have a break. So I may not be able to see it then, but I'll try and see it while it's in town. Like maybe go on a weeknight and take my daughter. She's 6 turning 7, and she's really into music and musicals, and she's a very sassy little young lady. So I've taken to see And Juliet, which she loved because it had all those hits. What's his name? Max Martin hits. So all the artists he wrote for over the years, like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Katy Perry, and so she loved all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'd love to go check it out.
Yeah, it's a great show. I don't know who's doing. I believe the guy who did Michael on Broadway. He is now doing it in Australia.
Oh, it's the same person, is it? Oh, there you go.
I think, but not the original. Sadly, it's not Miles Frost. Miles Frost is an amazing performer.
Yeah. It's a big role, big shoes to fill, huh?
Oh yeah. But do you have any favorite moments from any like from the shows you previously did, like from 2008, not 2008, 2018 up to currently? Do you have any favorite moments?
Well, I've got some embarrassing moments.
You can share those if you want to.
Yeah, they're always fun. No, we had one instance where, like many big shows, we work with the live music and what's called a click track. So it keeps the beat going so that everything's in sync with the band, and it syncs up with the video production and the lighting. And we just had one awful gig at a theatre, which supposedly has a ghost at the theatre. Her name is Anita, the ghost. And apparently she has a habit of messing with things when she's not happy. And I think that's what happened that night, because I sort of went out for a section to do with Frankie Valli, and everything went wrong. The drummer lost his sticks. The earpiece came out. The click track stopped. some of the production went down, and it was just this absolute cacophony of musicians playing out of time and a beat that was wrong, and me trying to find the spot to sing, and the BVs with the other artists were wrong. It was just a total disaster. So that was an embarrassing moment. But yeah, look, man, there's been plenty of highlights. I mean, even far as back as Jersey Boys, when I went on for Frankie Valli for the first time, that was a big career highlight. And singing the big penultimate bit when it does the "You're just too good to be true, can't take my eyes off of you," and I had a wonderful, 1,500 seat theatre and a big, roaring standing ovation, which was hugely flattering. So that was amazing. And then, yeah, with the current show, we one of my favourite venues would be Her Majesty's Theatre in Adelaide, and we often get close to 1,400 people there, and it's this giant kind of Colosseum vibe. It's 3 and 4 tiers. It's hugely high. The lighting's amazing. The sound's huge. So anytime you go out there and you look up and you think, wow, there's a lot of people here. It's that's particularly exciting. But yeah, I'm sort of blessed. I think some of the funniest moments with the guys I tour with now, apart from the music, is because we host it like a TV show. We're talking to a camera and we hold the microphones, and the audience kind of watch it on a big TV screen. But the comedy that happens there when we sort of go a bit off script and we start laughing, and then someone says a joke and someone one-ups the joke and someone says something else, and then we're just giggling. The audience is bursting out laughing. Some of those have been very funny. So,
And that's how I am with my shows. We're always improvising for everything. Just anything can happen. The show must go on.
That's right. And that's, I think, when you find some of your most joyous moments is what comes out of it naturally, And same thing, you know, with your dancing and your vocal stuff, when you're just feeling particularly inspired and a certain dance move or a vocal lick comes out or something ad-lib, you're like, oof, that was not planned, not orchestrated, but it was spontaneous and organic. And I mean, that's the beauty of the arts is there's a lot of intangibility and stuff you can't quite put your finger on. And that's the magic of what it is, and replicating that on a regular basis. So yeah,
definitely. Is there any tips you can give me or any upcoming performers on what it takes to be a performer?
Look, I think for me the biggest thing is consistency. You just got to keep fronting up and keep doing it. I heard Steve Martin have a chat about this, and he was saying in an interview, when he was asked the questions of how do I get an agent? How do I get started? How do I get seen? He said, well, flip that on its head. Rather than doing stuff to be seen, he's like, just do your own thing, but be so good that they just can't ignore you. So if you're consistently good and consistently doing stuff to the best of your ability at the time, if I look back over my career, there was always something where I was doing something that perhaps someone saw it, and that spurred the next step. And that goes back from singing in a choir to doing amateur musicals for a little community society to, and it all just kind of leapfrogs from there. So I think, it's a bit of a case of course, when luck strikes, you want to be prepared. And that's the big thing as well. There is an element of luck. And I look at my career and I go, I've had a lot of unlucky moments where I was second choice or third choice, or maybe I was offered something and I couldn't do it because it clashed with something else I'd said yes. And then that was a bad choice, and the thing that I couldn't do was amazing. So I've had some moments of luck, but I definitely look back and I go, I've had a lot of moments of being unlucky where if I look at the trajectory that could have had something gone in my favor, it could have been a different story. So, but those things are out of your control. All you can control is being prepared, knowing your stuff. And if and when that situation arises where there is an opportunity, being ready and, not blowing opportunities, because you don't always get that many. And you want to make sure you obviously capitalize when you do. But also, the biggest thing I think is it doesn't matter what the gig is, how big, how small, who it's for, how big the money is, if it's no money. If you're doing the good stuff and you're invested in the work and the product and the quality of what you do, it tends to be recognized, and it in some way, shape or form catches up over the years. Even a buddy who I met in High Five, who was another understudy, he remembered my work ethic from working with that production with him for only a year. And he called me up maybe oh, 8 years later, maybe, yeah, and said, "Oh, I've written a kids book, and we're going to do a live show of it, and we're going to take it to Manila in the Philippines. There's a character in it that I've basically written for you." I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, I loved how you worked in this other production, and when I wrote the character, I had you in mind because your energy and your work ethic, and so I'd love you to do it." So that was 8 years ago. So yeah, you never know what impression you're going to make and who it's going to stick with,
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
think, yeah, be consistent, keep working, and just keep doing your thing.
Definitely. And I got one last question for you. Since
Hmm.
I'm a Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury impersonator, do you have
Yeah.
any favorite Queen songs or favorite Michael Jackson songs?
I've always liked the you got to be starting something. You got to be starting something. How to get over? Yeah, yeah. That I love that one. Um, I've done often rock with you with some band gigs for the girl. Close your eyes, let the rhythm get into you. I love that one. Um, Michael's just cool, man. Like he just oozed cool. So I think I had the Black or White album in the '90s when I was growing up on cassette tape, and that was good. So I listened to Black and White on repeat forever and ever and ever. And then with Freddie, I mean, Freddie's one of those guys as well that's just epic. I did always like and it was in the musical because I auditioned for the role of Freddie in the We Will Rock You musical as well, and that was one of those unlucky moments where it didn't quite go my way. Um, but I always loved the Who Wants to Live Forever, Who Wants to Live Forever. Ooh. Um, that's a great one. I mean, obviously, all the classic ones are awesome. And I did a Queen tribute show for a while as well, kind of simultaneous to Boys in the Band. And we did sort of corporates and cruise ship gigs. Um, but yeah, I definitely like Who Wants to Live Forever. Um, and then the one from Highlander, the It's a Kind of Magic,
Ah,
a
that's a good
kind
one
of
too. I love that one.
magic. Yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, man, there's tons. It's really hard to pick, but some of those are the kind of less popular ones, like less cliche. That I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I quite like it. Um, Obviously, no one's going to go past Bohemian Rhapsody because that's just
Oh
unreal.
no.
But yeah, they're very cool. What about yourself, man? And what are your favorites?
Um, All-time favorite Billie Jean is is a classic. And that's my favorite one to
Yep.
perform. I always throw my hat out into the crowd. People go nuts for a $10 hat. Just saying.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. That's right.
for
Well, that's because the
Queen,
hat came from you, buddy. It's not the $10 hat. It's the Buddy Katz hat. So that's
yes, exactly.
right.
With Freddie, I do love Radio Gaga. It's always classic because you get the fans to like
Yes, very
do this
cool.
at the classic view. But
Yep.
it's amazing. I love. It's always hard to choose sometimes too. Like no bad
Man.
Michael Jackson or Queen song.
Oh, see, actually, bad is a good one. I'm
The-
bad. I'm bad. That's a really good. Speaking of bad, so there you go.
All right. Well, Simon, it was great having you on the podcast.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Um, can you tell people where we can find you at social media, what you're doing next?
Yeah, most certainly, buddy. Probably the easiest place to find me is on Instagram. So you can search for Simon Brook Mclachlan, or the actual handle is SB McLachlan. But there's only one Simon Brook Mclachlan as far as I know. So if you punch that in, you'll find me. Um, that's probably the easiest way because I've got links from there to my show with the Robertson Brothers, my agent for acting and TV and film, for the podcast on air, snack bar, and everything else as well. You can also look me up on Facebook. I do some stuff there for particularly for the audience for the Robertson Brothers variety show, and that same thing. If you look up Simon Brook McLachlan on Facebook, you'll find me there. So I think they're the best two channels.
All right. And you're on tour right now. Where can people get tickets at?
If you go to, like I said, if you go to an Instagram page, you can follow the link to the Robertson Brothers, or I've got the website there as well, which is robertsonbrothers.com.au. That's the current touring show. So I'm actually off on an airplane this afternoon to Queensland, which is a northern state in Australia. Got a few shows this weekend, places called Bundaberg and Maryborough, and I come home and I go next weekend and we do Redcliffe, which is where the Bee Gees came from. I'm sure everyone's very familiar with the Bee Gees. There's an area there called Bee Gees Way, which is like a dedicated laneway mural to all the Bee Gees and the stuff they did in their career. So Yeah, so tickets you can get there. Obviously, we're traveling around Australia at the moment. So if there's any American fans who happen to be in Australia, look up robertsonbrothers.com.au and see if there's some shows that align with your travel plans if you're in town. And of course, any Australian listeners, we do all the major capital cities, a lot of rural, a lot of middle states sort of stuff as well. So yeah, robertsonbrothers.com.au, or again, all the links via the Instagram pages and stuff is where you can see the details.
All right. Well, Simon, it was great having you on the podcast. And you guys, if you guys are in Australia, catch the Robertson Brothers and Simon on tour. Tickets are going on sale. They're on sale right now. They're going on tour throughout December. Like I said,
Yep, we started 2 weeks ago, and we go right through till December of this year. So we've got about 80, nearly 90 shows throughout the year, which is pretty busy. So plenty of those, and I, of course, keep updates on Instagram page for anything I'm filming with TV and film, that sort of stuff as well.
all right. Well, Simon, again, it was a pleasure having you on the podcast.
Thank you very much, my friend, and thank you for hosting as well. I've, like I said, I've watched some of your videos. You do some great MJ stuff. You do some great Freddie Mercury stuff, and I must say too, hats off, man. You're doing a great job with the podcast. It's
Thank you.
very slick, very professional. You had all your questions sorted. It was really easy to have a conversation with you. So it's been more than my pleasure to have a chat with you. And look, would love to do it again sometime.
Definitely will. And if we can get Brett on here, we'll do a whole little reunion for you guys.
Totally, man. Do a Wiggles kind of reunion. And I see Brett very occasionally. I bumped into him, must have been last year. He was co-managing a small gig that we were doing together. And I was like, fancy seeing you here. So he's pretty well as far as I know. And I think he's still consulting with the Wiggles now. I'm not sure what his exact role is, but it's he's still very much involved with the organization. So yeah, he's been a good guy.
I think he was on tour with them last year. He was filling in for one of them.
Yeah, he's still very much involved, which is great. He loves it. He's fantastic at it. And yeah, look, to be honest, I'd probably even consider going back if there was an offer to do something in between tour and just go for a bit of a travel, have some fun. It'd be interesting.
There you go. Well,
Yeah.
again, Simon, thank you so much for being on the show. And to our listeners, I'm your host, Buddy Katz, and thank you for listening to Buddy and Friends. We'll see you next time.
See you next time, guys. Ciao.